22 minutes ago, I was assaulted by minors. I was about 30 meters away from my workplace, with dozens of people around to witness, when a group of about 4 to 5 minors shoulder bumped me hard. I turned around to confront them, and before I could say anything, I was slapped across the face and had a soda can thrown at me. I wasn't too fazed in the heat of the moment. I stayed level-headed, and the only thing stopping me from fighting back was how many they were, that they were minors, and that I was outside my workplace. I don't usually feel small, but now it's hitting me. I'm pretty confident and have a solid build. I carry myself well, but right now I just feel weak and ashamed. It has shaken me more than I expected, and I feel heavy in my chest. What should I do now? Edit. I have already reported the incident and taken the necessary steps. I meant that I felt emasculated and wanted to know how to get rid of that feeling. I just did a gym session, which helped. Story 1. I will say this as someone who was carjacked at gunpoint. Don't hold your feelings in. Allow yourself to experience the emotions. It's okay. You are safe now. Go out and relax in nature. Maybe get a massage. I highly recommend yoga because it helps release stored trauma in the body. Consider going to a boxing gym, not a cardio boxing gym, but one that teaches technique such as mixed martial arts or Muay Thai. It will help you take your power back and feel good again. You did the right thing by not engaging because they are minors. Now it's time to walk with confidence, knowing it will not happen again. Story 2. They initiated. You have a human right to self-defense. Slap them right back, follow up, and it ends. You do not deserve this, and these kids should not be able to get away with it. If it happens again, please fight back and defend yourself, no matter what others say. Story 3. I had 3 grown men in their 40s trying to start a fight with me the other day. I forgave them so I did not have to carry around all that negative energy. They were obviously losers. I feel bad for them that they have not grown up in all that time. It is counterintuitive to forgive them, but it is where the true relief comes from. Story 4. Unfortunately, the thing about being subjected to violence in the world is it is often so random and makes you feel so helpless. I was mugged once as a kid and sexually assaulted another time. The mugging made me realize I was not as cool or strong as I thought. When I was sexually assaulted or molested, I was surprised by how much I froze. The man just stuck his hand down my pants and cupped my genitals. I was not really scared or even upset afterward, but I had been holding a skateboard. I kicked myself for a while for not having the impulse to use it. More recently, I was nearly mauled by a large dog while walking to my car. I fumbled with my keys like someone in a horror movie. I felt so helpless. It affected me for a while. I started carrying a pocket knife with me almost all the time, so I know I have some form of real self-defense. It is at least psychologically empowering. Story 5. Well, the first step is to be honest with yourself. You didn't swing on them because you were scared, not because they were minors and you were at work. Those are valid reasons, and I don't think you should have gotten physical. But that is the reason you feel small. You felt like you didn't even have a choice. You were powerless, and that is a pretty shocking feeling the first time you experience it. You can learn to accept it, or you can join a boxing or Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym. To reiterate, you should not have gotten physical. But if you spend a year at a boxing gym, you will be able to turn down that confrontation, while knowing full well you saved them a trip to the hospital. Story 6. Join a kickboxing class and get good enough to spar. You will be punched in the face enough times that it becomes normal, but you will be able to dish it out as well, so these things will not be a bother. Story 7. Grab the closest person to you and sink your teeth into their exposed flesh with all your might. Do not let go, even if you taste blood. Ignore the screaming. The group will scatter. Show them the true meaning of feral. Story 8. Minors under the age of criminal responsibility, or just children not yet adults. A hard slap or a push away from you could be effective. Police will not intervene unless a bottle or a blade is involved. Story 9. Write down every detail you remember. It can help to close your eyes to better focus on sounds you heard, movements they made, aspects of their facial features, clothing, or accessories. Estimate their heights relative to your own height or nearby objects. Note any personal details they mentioned before, during, or after the incident. Observe the direction they came from and left in. Notice if anyone in or near the group appeared guilty or responsible for allowing it to happen. Try to narrow down the time it occurred within 5 to 10 minutes. If you are somewhere with doorbell or retail cameras, ask about accessing footage to share with law enforcement. Get contact details from witnesses. Calling the police is often not timely, especially if the individuals are no longer present. If this happened near a school or in a small town with only 1 or 2 schools for children of that age, consider contacting the schools. Explain that you believe you may have been assaulted by a group of their students and ask if they can confirm whether the description matches any students. Request that they follow up with law enforcement and provide officer contact information and the police report number. While schools generally do not disclose identifying details about minors to unknown callers, they may confirm if those students are known to them. Story 10. Where are you from? Start carrying whatever you can. In most of the world, the most you can carry legally is pepper spray. Story 11. I don't think there are any right ways to react to that, only wrong ones which you avoided. You were on your way to work, so it was probably morning, right? They were probably on their way back home from drinking cider in the park all night and morning, with no positive outlook on their day or lives. They just take random swings at people who are by themselves because they are jealous and would not do it against equal numbers. They are the weak ones, not you. Just don't make a bigger deal of it in your head than you need to. Probably wasn't about you personally. Story 12. Just think about how many different ways it could have gone wrong if you retaliated. You knock one of them out and they hit their head or they stomp on yours when you are knocked out. Just know that the outcome is good and you get to carry on with life. Those people will run into the wrong person one day and get dealt with. Story 13. Original poster, that is a tough situation. 5-on-1, you do not stand a good chance fighting. Even someone well-trained is not going to be able to hold off 5 13 or 14-year-olds with hands alone. It is not like they will wait in line and come at you one at a time. If you were armed, if that is even legal for you, now you are inviting the legal hassle that comes with lethal force. Is a ding to your pride worth it? I do not think you should be faulting yourself. I am really not sure how I would respond in that moment. All options are bad. Even walking away is a hit on your self-esteem, as you are finding out. Story 14. I have been attacked a few times, once by a group that included some who were definitely quite young. If you are anything like me, you will replay it in your mind a lot, what you could have done and how you wish you had reacted. First, do not beat yourself up. Second, allow yourself to be angry, hurt, or whatever you feel. The odds are they will not be punished in any meaningful way, and it will be difficult. But do not take it out on people you care about. Third, treat yourself to something you enjoy, food, a movie, whatever. Do something for yourself tonight. It will be hard for a while and stay with you for weeks. However, it does get better. Story 15. I wasn't that fazed in the heat of the moment. I never find that I am. The anger comes maybe an hour later. The anxiety attacks days later. You need to talk to a loved one as soon as possible and make sure they are available for whatever is about to hit you. I meant that I felt emasculated and wanted to know what I should do to get rid of that feeling. Just reject that idea outright. You are a human being who was assaulted, disrespected, and made to feel vulnerable and unsafe. It does not affect you differently because you are a man. You should not feel personally ashamed. It is not your personal responsibility to have righted this wrong. This is a collective societal failure. Story 16. Getting sucker punched or slapped is not your fault. I know it does not feel great, but as I said in an earlier post about a similar situation, the reality is that you are not going to win against multiple assailants. You also are not going to stop someone who is determined to strike or kill you. No one likes to admit that, but you can be the toughest person on the planet, yet a bullet, a knife, or a blunt object to the base of your skull means lights out. You are at the world's mercy. It sounds like you kept your cool, but if I were to replay this scenario, I would say something like, 5-on-1? Is that really what we are doing? Then, if possible, run. If necessary, defend yourself to the best of your ability. However, as others have pointed out, physical violence is a legal minefield, and dealing with minors with parents who see a lawsuit adds another layer. I'm sorry this happened. I know it feels humiliating, It is a terrible situation, but there was not much more to do here. Story 17. Start training mixed martial arts or some other striking and grappling discipline. You are young, do yourself a favor. You will meet some great people and gain a lot from it. Seriously, one of the biggest benefits I have gained from training over the years is the complete loss of ego in a threatening situation. I have never felt emasculated after a confrontation, even though it may look like I am backing down. I simply do not want any part of their world. The comfort comes in the confidence, rightly or wrongly, that if push came to shove, you could take care of the situation with trained and controlled violence. It will bring you mental peace. Story 18. Why would you confront 5 people when you have no defense skills? This one is on you. Always hit first and always hit hard, but only if absolutely necessary. Next time, just do the normal thing. Report them and cut your losses. You need to ignore the people comforting you and come to terms with the fact that you mishandled this interaction. Use it as a learning experience and move on. Story 19. I can tell you what you should do, but I was raised not to be someone's punching bag. You touch me, I touch you back. I was in a situation similar to the one the original poster describes. It ended up being 3-on-1. After injuring the first 2 enough for them to need to go to the hospital, the third one ran off. Story 20. I was robbed at knife point by a small, probably late teen, masked girl. I was working at Subway when she came in at the end of the night. I think she thought the other girl working for me was the only person there. I had just come out from the back when she entered. I let her take the cash from the drawer and did nothing to stop her, even though I know I could have easily broken her wrist as she flailed the knife over the counter. She wasn't a real threat. I keep telling myself that if she had tried to take my money, I would have stopped her, but I wasn't going to risk myself for Subway's money. Realistically, I might have just handed her my wallet too if she had asked. I definitely feel like I failed some sort of test that day. That was my one chance to play the hero and I missed it. I know it was the right move, but it still doesn't feel great. At the time this occurred, I was a 30-something, 6-foot, 225-pound combat veteran. Story 21. You can either be a psychopath and look for them for revenge, or be an adult and move on knowing you saved your freedom. Story 22. You have no reason at all to feel ashamed or weak. It sounds like you handled yourself really well. The amount of restraint and self-control you showed is a demonstration of internal strength and honestly is peak manliness by my definition. You did well. Story 23. I do not care how old an attacker is. A can of Coca-Cola to the head could have potentially killed you. I can only say I am a Reddit-friendly person and would have defended myself with appropriate measures. Story 24. Start training. Most people, even those who work out, have no idea how to protect themselves. Join a boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, or mixed martial arts gym, or really any legitimate combat sport gym. I personally believe that as a man, it is almost necessary. I would not have let that slide. I'm breaking that dude's nose right there. I might go home looking a little worse than you, but knowing I got at least one hit on those tuckers would make me feel good. Story 25. It is pretty traumatic to encounter real malice in the world. It is unsettling to discover that there are humans who love inflicting suffering enough to risk causing it. I encountered this kind of malice often as a child. I learned to fight. That was the only thing that made the unsettled feeling go away. Take some mixed martial arts training until you feel like you can take care of yourself. The feeling will decrease by about 70%, but it never goes away completely. You have learned something new about the world. It will never be the same again. Story 26. Learn how to fight. Join a boxing or Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym to build confidence in yourself. Story 27. Call emergency services immediately. File a report with the police. Describe what the suspects looked like, and ask your workplace if there are security cameras around the premises, even nearby areas, as they might have recorded the incident. The police will also interview witnesses who can provide descriptions. Make sure these criminals do not get away with this. It does not matter how physically strong you are in a realistic confrontation today. What matters are weapons. I am not advocating the use of firearms, knives, or batons on minors, but pepper spray can be very effective. Lastly, I understand you needed to vent, but social media platforms are not the place to discuss a crime immediately after it happens, especially if emergency services were not contacted first. That was an unwise decision and raises suspicion that this might be a post seeking attention. Story 28. If you were that close to your work, you are in a business area of your town. If you want actual evidence, you probably have about a week before the video footage gets erased, if anything was captured on camera. So go to the police now. You live in a complex society where you need to control your baser instincts. You might feel humiliated now, but honestly, do you not feel the same after facing challenges in other areas of life? It will pass, just like every other difficult experience you go through. Do not be impulsive. Go to the gym or do something else and move on with your life. If it keeps bothering you, you will need to address it, but seriously, do not let this stay in your mind. Could have happened to anyone. Story 29. If you live in the United States, get a gun. If the same group of teenagers does it again, say only, "Officer, I was afraid for my life and I want a lawyer." Story 30. Call the police and report the assault. It is 2025. There are cameras everywhere. ATMs, street corners, buildings, and Teslas. Handle that immediately. Story 31. Hey, I am a woman, but I can tell you that making the responsible choice, which is to not swing back, was way more masculine than responding in a situation in which you know very well that you will be destroyed. You are not less masculine. You are even more masculine. Story 32. The real question is, are these young people going to be a regular problem for you now? Sounds like they had a good time with you. What are you going to do if they are there tomorrow? Story 33. As others have said, report it. Get yourself checked if you are injured, especially with any kind of head injury. To overcome the embarrassment, go back to living your life. The most mature thing you can do is stay out of trouble so you can be a positive force in the world. It may help to realize that these individuals will face consequences one day, perhaps not for this incident, but for something else. They may be incarcerated or face worse, while you continue living your life. Story 34. I just feel weak and ashamed. It has shaken me more than I expected, and I feel heavy in my chest. Would you still feel like a big, strong, proud man if you had beaten up a group of children? Story 35. First, get away from the situation. Second, check for cuts or stabs. Then, perform a quick medical inspection to see if reverting is working as intended. None of that seems applicable in this situation. Generally, it is a smart move to avoid starting a fight with 4 to 5 people when you are alone, as you would probably lose that confrontation regardless of how small or unskilled they are. Story 36. That word needs to disappear. You handled it well. You did not hurt anyone, including yourself. You acted as I would now in my 40s as a sensible, put-together adult. Young me might have reacted differently, but there is no winning in that situation. If you physically fought, it would be an adult fighting a teenager, or they could overwhelm you, leading to a worse outcome. Groups of teenagers can be very aggressive. There are no good outcomes in such scenarios. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.